Are you confused about Y-DNA? What does that mean? What are the different DNA tests? Are you thinking that maybe a Y-DNA test might help you find somebody in your family? Maybe you're looking for a father or a grandfather, and you're wondering if Y-DNA can help. Well, this is going to be a short video to outline what a Y-DNA test will look at and whether or not it's a good solution for you. My name's Aimee Cross, and I want to provide some genealogy hints for you today. So you're thinking about using Y-DNA to find the men in your family tree. DNA is a great tool. And so we're going to talk about the different kinds of DNA tests that you can take and what each are appropriate for, and focus on Y-DNA. We each inherit our DNA from our parents. We get half from our mom and half from our dad. Now, the three different types of DNA tests that use that DNA and help us discover things about ourselves and about our family are the autosomal DNA test, the mitochondrial DNA test, and the Y-DNA test. The autosomal DNA test is probably the one you're most familiar with. A lot of times they don't call it autosomal DNA, they just say DNA, but it's really the one that they're talking about. The test uses the autosomal chromosomes, and it results in giving you the DNA that you have shared with all of your relations. It doesn't work really far back into your family tree, but it can work for a number of generations. One of the things that a lot of people like about autosomal DNA and why they get the test is because it provides ethnicity results. You can find out if you're part Nigerian, Irish, whatever. And then as well, most companies now have health traits that are available as part of their DNA package. Sometimes it's an upcharge. Now, mitochondrial DNA, or sometimes called mtDNA, is something that mothers pass on to their children, but the sons don't pass it on. So the best way to explain mitochondrial DNA is to look at this chart. So here we have the mom, and she has these 4 children, a son and 3 daughters. The son isn't going to be passing along any mitochondrial DNA to his children. The mitochondrial DNA stops with him. Her daughter, though, is going to pass on mitochondrial DNA to her children. Her daughter has had a daughter who's got married and then had a daughter and a son. Now, all of those individuals have gotten her mitochondrial DNA. Now, in the next example, we have a daughter who had a son and a daughter. They both got married, and you can see that the daughter passed on her mitochondrial DNA to her daughter, but again, her son, it stopped with her son. So mitochondrial DNA can be helpful only in particular circumstances. Today, we're going to focus on Y-DNA. So Y-DNA, the Y chromosomes are passed from father to son virtually unchanged. So because they're unchanged, there's a caution to this. It causes the genetic distance on Y-DNA tests to be pretty big. So even a match of 0 can have a number of generations in it. So sometimes that results in matches that are pretty far up your family tree, but it's still a great tool. And women can't take Y-DNA tests because men have an X and a Y chromosome, but women only have 2 X chromosomes. So here we have somebody, and they have their mom and their dad. Their mom has 2 X chromosomes. She passes along one of her X chromosomes to her son. His dad has an X and a Y chromosome. He passes on his Y chromosome to his son. Now, if they were to have a daughter, the mom's going to pass one of her X chromosomes on to her daughter. The dad is going to be passing his X chromosome on to his daughter, thereby giving her the 2 X chromosomes. So when you're looking at your family tree, you see that you have your parents, your grandparents, your great-grandparents, and your great-great-grandparents. If you're a man, your Y-DNA is going to be inherited from your father, who inherited it from his father, who inherited it from his father, and so forth. A Y-DNA test is not going to give you any information on any of the other people in your family tree. It's just going to give you information on that patriarchal line, your surname. So what if the man that you're seeking in your family tree isn't in that paternal line? Is all lost? No, all is not lost. There are still some solutions. Let me show you. So what if you want to know the grandfather of your mother, your great-grandfather? But if you do a Y-DNA test, it's not going to work, even if you're male, because it's going through your mother. So that Y-DNA line has been broken. But if you test your grandmother's brother or your granduncle, then he can provide the information that you need on your great-grandfather on your mother's side. So what if you want to know the other grandfather of your mother? Your maternal, paternal great-grandfather. It gets a little confusing, doesn't it? When we say maternal, paternal, you're saying that it's your mother, maternal's father, paternal's father. That's what we're talking about. So you can test your grandfather But what if your grandfather doesn't want to do a DNA test or is no longer alive? Is all lost? No, let me show you how. So here you have your grandfather that we were just talking about, your mother's father's father. So let's say your grandfather isn't available to test for whatever reason. If your grandfather had a brother, your granduncle, then he could test. If he had a son, you could test him. He would be your second cousin once removed. If he had a son, you could also test him, your second cousin. Now, if you want to know more about second cousin once removed, second cousin, if this is confusing for you, at the end of the video, I'm going to have a link to another video that I have that delineates these family relationships to help you not be so confused. So any of these men could do a Y-DNA test and provide the information that you're looking for. Let's say your grandfather doesn't have a brother. No worries, all is not lost. You still have some other options. You can go up a generation. So here you have your great-great-grandfather. And if he had another son other than your great-grandfather, then his family line would be a potential testing. So if he had a son, and he had a son, and he had a son, which would be your third cousin, then any one of those men could provide the same information that you're looking for. But what if there's a daughter mixed in there? It's not going to work. So if there's a girl in that family line, it's going to break that Y-DNA chain, and that will no longer work. That third cousin is not going to be of any use to you. I hope this has been of help to you. I hope that you see that a Y-DNA test can be a very useful way to find out more about your family tree. Now, where do you go for a Y-DNA test? Y-DNA tests are not as common. Ancestry doesn't do them. A number of the platforms don't do Y-DNA tests. The most common is Family Tree DNA. And there are a couple of other companies that do Y-DNA tests as well, but I recommend Family Tree DNA. And I'm not getting any money from them or anything like that. I'm not going to do that. So this is my own opinion. The reason why I recommend Family Tree DNA, when you're looking for matches, which is really what you need to have this work, you need to have matches. You need to use the company that is the largest, that will provide the most matches for you, and therefore the most potential results that could provide the answers that you're looking for. And Family Tree DNA always offers a discount on their Y-DNA test for Father's Day, so if you want to check that out, you can. Now, for the promised links. You'll see my face right over here. If you'd like to subscribe to the channel, which I would really appreciate if this has been helpful to you, please like the video and please comment and let everybody know that this worked for you, and that way YouTube knows to continue to show my channel to people who are asking the same questions you've asked. If you're interested in the video that has the information about understanding your family tree and who a second cousin is or a second cousin once removed, click this video up here. And if you'd like to know more about DNA tests, I have a video that goes over an Ancestry DNA test result. Now this is the autosomal DNA. So if you want to learn more about the autosomal DNA and your ethnicity results, you can click on this video right there. Hope this has been of help to you, and I hope you have a great day. Thanks.